Lately, I have had a lot of private messages from the wives of fellow riders. But it's not what you think. They're wondering what kinds of gifts they should get for their husbands who have recently become addicted to dual sport motorcycling. This also goes along with the scores of messages that I get asking, hey, I need some kind of boots or gloves or tires or foot pegs or whatever, and I don't have a ton of money, but I want the best stuff for the money that I have. What should I buy? Well, I've got you covered. What I'm recommending isn't perfect, but it usually costs about 20% of what the best stuff out there costs. And it performs great and is held up to my testing, abuse, and often my neglect. So I have compiled 3 lists of dual sport motorcycle gear, one under $25, one under $100, and the final one under $500 if you want to get a little spendy but still want to keep things reasonable. I've tested all of these things a lot. I beat the crap out of my gear, even to the point of abuse and intentional negligence, for the very purpose of testing how well things last under stress, all for you. So to make things extra easy for you, I've organized everything by price, then put chapter markers in the description so that you can click through if something catches your eye, with the links to the lowest prices I could find for those items right there to the side. So hopefully that saves you a lot of hassle, and it helps the channel out as well when you use those links so that I can continue doing more brutally honest tests and reviews in the future. So let's get right to it with the best value dual sport stuff under $25. First, we'll start off with lights, which in many cases are well under $25, which is a surprise to some. These can be pretty easily tied into the existing light. They're LEDs, so they don't require a lot of juice, and they really help a lot on the trail when it gets dark. Next is this handy little device called a Cramp Buster. It simply grips around your throttle and basically lets you rest your wrist on it to maintain throttle. It's a simple device, but it works wonders, and I won't go a long distance without it. It can easily be removed for riding in the dirt, which is very, very handy. Now, how many times has your helmet fallen to the ground with that devastating thud? This is the helmet hook, and the idea is very simple. It's a convenient place to hang and lock your helmet so it doesn't fall off your bike. This isn't the most flashy thing, but it could save your butt out on the trail, and it's just a spare brake and clutch lever for your motorcycle. Every off-road rider should have them with them. They're a quick fix to install, they're very cheap insurance, and as you know, having a functional brake or clutch is pretty important. These are the Progrip 714s, and they're some kind of magic. I've tried a lot of grips, and these are by far my favorite and the favorite of many, many dual sport motorcyclists out there. Now, while many dual sport helmets feature face shields, you shouldn't underestimate how nice it is to have goggles for more technical, slow-speed, dusty rides where you need a little bit more airflow into your helmet. These 100% Strata goggles are cheap, and they're good. And along with your goggles, check out the Roco Quick Strap or the ARC Goggle Strap. These allow you to quickly get your goggles on and off, and you can store your goggles behind your head when you're riding on the highway and your face shield is down. Knee guards are the next thing on the list, and these are the best, cheapest ones I could find that actually articulate with your knee and protect them as well. Every scratch on these would have been a gouge in my knee without them. Sure, they're not $1,000 knee braces, but they do the job, and when tucked into a boot, they're comfortable enough. These are Decade gloves, and I've had these for 5 years and thousands upon thousands of miles through all kinds of terrain and dozens of crashes. They're not waterproof, but they last. They're comfortable, they're warm and cool, and they've got great armor and a very nice gauntlet for your wrist. This next one is another insurance policy, Case Savers. They protect your engine case from being punctured by rocks, debris, or your own brake or clutch levers. For a few bucks, it can save a lot of headache on the trails. The Tusk fender pack is extremely handy, and mine has held up for years. It's a great place for a spare tube, a few tire irons, a small pump, and other tire changing tools. It easily swaps from bike to bike and mounts out of the way from other gear. Now onto the goodies you can get for under $100, but remember, many are in the $30 to $50 range. Now I know fanny packs aren't cool anymore, but this one really is. It's an Ogio tool pack, and I love it. It fits very comfortably around my waist and carries everything I need. First aid, tools, spares, keys. I love this thing, and no longer do I need to pack things in a backpack or strap things to my bike. This just carries it all, and it doesn't feel like anything's there. Now, RAM mounts could be in the sub $25 category, but altogether they can get a little more expensive, but they're still highly recommended. This is the RAM mount Spring Grip, and it is the best phone mount I've tried for any kind of off-road motorcycling. I love having my phone up there where I can see it, use it for GPS, grab it for pictures, or glance at incoming calls with just one hand, and it stays in there. I've never had my phone come out of this one. This next one is actually highly recommended and makes a gigantic difference when your riding is better standing up. These are the Tusk foot pegs, and they're strong, they're wide, and they're grippy. They make an enormous difference to not only your comfort while riding, but also to the life of the sole of your boot because of their wide footprint. Now I've talked about this armor many times before because it's just good. If you wear a large shirt, get an XL armor set. This armor has been fantastic. It has saved me in crash after crash, and it is a fraction of the price of the name brand armor it's imitating. The primary drive sprocket and X-ring chain set is an awesome value, and mine have lasted for a long time and a lot of neglect. Sprockets make an enormous difference on how power is delivered on dirt or road, and are easy enough to change out that a spare one for a few bucks is well worth the price. And now finally our $500 and under category. Now this stuff might seem spendy, but remember this stuff is about 20% of the cost of other similar options. First, we have the Battleborn jacket and pants from Rocky Mountain ATV MC. Through my adventures in rain and shine, hot and cold, this has been a solid investment. Is it going to perform the same as $1,000 Gore-Tex? I don't know, I've never been able to afford $1,000 Gore-Tex, but this has kept me warm and dry when needed, and yet still has the vents to keep things aired out when it gets warmer. Panniers are typically very expensive, especially when you factor in the rack to mount them on. These Tusk panniers are $400 for the rack and 2 lockable, quick-release panniers, and they're pretty near invincible. For hard luggage, these are seriously hard to beat. This next one is what I've often said is the best thing to happen to motorcycle riding since knobby tires, and that is the Sena headset. Seriously, being able to communicate while riding makes the whole experience so much more fun, safe, and memorable. So next is the seat. Stock seats are often, how should I put this? Garbage. If you'd like a seat that's comfortable, tough, and inexpensive, Seat Concepts is the way to go. I've got one on every bike I own for a reason. If you like the utility of a rack, but you don't like the weight or that it is just stuck on there forever, or you have a dirt bike and no racks will fit it, then this one is for you. This is a green chili hardcore rack. It straps onto any bike in about a minute. Its rigid cantilever design means it holds a pretty good amount of weight even if your bike doesn't have a subframe. And for a little bonus, the rigidity comes from spare tire irons. If you've ever dreamed of camping off the back of your dual sport or dirt bike, this makes things a lot easier. And you can use code eveRide for 10% off your entire order. That's a pretty good deal. If you are looking for a helmet camera to record your adventures, I highly recommend Sony's AS300 and their 4K X3000. These have the most advanced optical image stabilization in any camera out there right now, and the image is spectacular. But if a traditional camera is more your style, the Panasonic FZ1000 shoots 4K video, 1080p at 120 frames per second, and is just a great all-around camera that's put up with some abuse. It's got great stabilization and a long zoom too. And the final and most valuable thing on this list that doesn't actually cost a thing is a subscription to this channel. Just click here to subscribe to the eveRide channel and get free dual sport and adventure videos every weekend. We do buying guides like this, bike reviews, gear reviews, cinematics, adventures in top dual sporting locations, and a lot more. But for now, thank you so much for watching and much love. eveRide out.